gonna spotlight the three of you, and I'm here to support you if you need anything. Stephanie, welcome.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. Everybody, if you didn't know already, that is David Layton, he's the president of WITI, who's been a fantastic partner of Women in Alliances, is really encouraging women in tech as well. And we're really very appreciative to have your support and the use of your Zoom. So thank you. We're supporting the same cause. And I really wanted to thank everyone for joining today. Women in Alliances is celebrating what we're calling International Women's Month. We're taking more than a day. We're going to have the whole month. We have a series of webinars. We've also got an in-person meeting. One of our partners from Aptio reached out to us to celebrate women in partnerships. And so if you're in the London area on the 11th of March, we'd love to see you in person as well. So the other webinars on the marketplace, that's by Partner Insights on the 13th, next Wednesday. And then on the 21st of March, we have Partnering in Asia, which is really exciting, probably an area that runs a bit of a blank in your head in partnerships, because it's so rare to be able to work with the East when you're in the West or in Europe. So we just wanted to open up the covers and see what's going on in the East. But of course, without any further ado, even more exciting, we have UK's reality TV star, Ferne McCann, and her very handsome fiance, Laurie Haynes, joining us today to present their mental health app, Shoorah.
Hi everyone. I don't know whether to say good morning, good afternoon, early evening. I know we've got people from all around the world, but I am so happy to be joining you on this webinar. So thank you so much for having us, Stephanie.
How are you doing, everyone?
Hi, Laurie. Hi. So you're going to give us a demo later today, right? We're really excited.
I am indeed.
Okay, so we get to see it in action. Now we're going to have a little bit of fun before we dive into that. So everyone, please forgive me. This is a bit manual, but at least for those who don't know who Ferne is, in the UK, you've graced our television set for well over 10 years, even though you haven't aged a day. And I've got short little excerpts to share with everybody. So I was unfortunately not able to make a video for legal reasons, but what I have done is put a little manual collage together for you.
This final time trial, the recruits must scale one of the tallest dunes in the Wadi Rum Desert in 40-degree heat, weighed down with their burdens.
Want to form a gap? You gotta want it, and if you want it, you gotta take it. Get out here.
Now that's stressful. We're going to talk to you a bit about that in a second. This one comes with a warning. This one's even more stressful. Ferne's about to eat a spider, so if you're squeamish, do not watch.
Time to wake up. Can't breathe. In it goes. Oh god. Oh god.
Okay, I can't watch that one anymore myself. And then probably more gracious and the mum that we know that you are.
You've seen so much of my life, but there's still that part of you that nobody gets to see.
We have TV personality, presenter, businesswoman, the ultimate mum, Ferne McCann, in the building.
All I can remember when I was young, when I was a kid, was that I wanted to perform, I wanted to be on stage, I wanted that fame. And it really is, be careful what you wish for, because when I arrived there, I was like, oh, this isn't as sort of glamorous and as amazing as what I fantasized about in my mind. We know that life isn't linear and self-development isn't straightforward, because just when you think you've cracked it, something happens in life.
It seems like you are the ultimate depiction of health right now. You're glowing, honestly.
Oh, I honestly believe, Scott, and I feel like I've heard you say something similar before, but I honestly believe our darkest times are sent to us because that is the moment that we're going to level up.
Beautifully said. Now, first things first. Fern, you know, we talk about the stresses and partnerships. Please tell me, a lifetime in the spotlight. I'm sure you've got a couple stories you can share with us.
Yes, it's definitely been full of ups and downs. Like you heard me in one of those clips, fame was something that I always thought that I wanted when I was younger. I grew up, you know, really having a burning desire to wanting to perform and be on stage. And I ended up on a reality show. So it was a reality show called The Only Way is Essex, based on the area that I live in. And the show was, I guess, quite controversial. So, you know, the sort of nature of the show, people were arguing, and it's romantic conflict and friendship drama. But because I felt like well, this is what I wanted. You know, I wanted to be famous. It was a recipe for disaster, because you had a group of young people really wanting to be famous, and then in order to get more airtime, you would get involved in the drama. So it was a real sort of like vicious, it was a double-edged sword, because I wanted it, but also at the same time it was really tough. And yeah, life in the public eye hasn't been straightforward, especially having a reality show still to this day. I think people think that they know you, but of course there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors. But yeah, it's not, I always say be careful what you wish for, because you think, oh, this is what I want. And then when you get there, of course, whatever you do, whether you're a reality star, whether you're a director of a company, whether you're working night shifts, whatever you're doing is going to have its ups and downs. And it's about learning the tools to manage those downfalls and those really, really, you know, tough times.
And so did you actually want to eat a live spider?
Oh my goodness, that clip. I was watching it even wincing myself. And it's funny because my oldest daughter is 6, and she has somehow, I think Laurie told her in the car the other day that I was on The Jungle, because I'm a Celebrity was recently on just before Christmas. So she was like, couldn't believe it. And she was so squeamish watching the video. But no, I didn't want to eat a live spider, but I made it to the final 3, and it was for a task and a challenge, and I felt like I had to do it. But believe it or not, that clip never gets shown publicly. So we can do it and we can play it. Obviously, it's everywhere on YouTube, and we can do it in these smaller, more intimate groups, because it got so many Ofcom complaints.
Oh my gosh,
you aware of? Yeah, exactly. So obviously everyone was like up in uproar about that clip. Obviously it wasn't my fault, it was ITV.
No.
Thank you that they took the rap for it. But yeah, it's interesting to watch that clip. But that was sort of iconic. Like, I can't believe that's such a moment when people think about The Jungle. So many people reference the time that I ate the live spider.
And I saw you in a coffin of snakes. That must not be you said, I think that was the one thing that you couldn't handle at all. But you did handle it. You won your Tucker treats, or whatever the heck that you get from winning those challenges. And there was another one that I saw that I thought, my God, this woman's really brave. This was on the Celebrity SAS. You fell backwards off a very high platform, like a very high dock, in the middle of the night, into the ocean, just letting go. And what was interesting is that you couldn't do it at first at all. And you completely and overly overcame it and smashed it. And it was just so impressive. And, you know, and I know you've had other challenges as well, shall I say, socially, that the media brought up as well. And I've seen that you've had 1 or 2 tears on camera. So you are very, very open, very genuine. We've seen you go through these strengths. You've got very positive and fun energy, but at the same time, you've had these difficulties. And that's kind of what I wanted to discuss now, is to move into Shoorah and the mental health app, because in partnerships, and this is one thing we probably don't sit back and give enough time to ourselves about what we're going through. This is what we do with partnerships or channels or alliances. We put forward our employer's solution into the market in a focused manner. And we work with our partner to make sure everybody in our partner knows what we do and how we're really fantastic in the market and where we sit properly in the ecosystem. And that on itself is a bit of a battle to get the airtime, etc., and get the interest and people to really have that buy-in. But then we turn around completely exhausted. And when we have internal meetings, we then have to validate ourselves and our work. And in fact, we actually have to end up validating our career. It's unbelievably stressful because I don't actually see other teams. And by the way, this isn't for everybody and every partnership's different. But I don't see other teams' sales validating their purpose of life in a company or in finance or in, let's say, HR, for example, or marketing. But we continually have to do this in partnerships, and it does lead to sleepless nights. There's no question. It leads to internal relationship building, continually trying to get that trust, and maybe even a point of where we feel we lack confidence in what we do. But when we speak to people externally, we hear that what we do is quite effective and quite strong. And one of the reasons for women in alliances that we hear again and again, our members tell us, we love this group because you basically provide us with work therapy. So yeah, I'd love to know more about Shoorah, why you made this change in life, what the story behind Shoorah is, and then maybe we can get into a demo.
Wow, as you're talking, loads of things are sort of pinging into my mind, and I'm like, where do I start? But just to touch on what you said, I think with women in particular, we're always having to pick ourselves up and having those internal pep talks with ourselves and sort of leaning into our inner confidence, because we're so programmed and conditioned to sort of put ourselves down. So yeah, self-validating all of the time. And a really simple exercise that I do is homing in on my 3 strengths. And Stephanie, I had the privilege of chatting to you before setting up this webinar, and you know, all the time, I spoke about it on my LinkedIn the other day, I sort of now stepping into this new space, because for me, I've just felt like, oh, you know, I'm a reality star. Yes, I've achieved amazing things, and SAS, by the way, is one of them. And of course, I'm a mother, which just, I feel like that's a massive strength. But now launching Shoorah, our mental health app with Laurie, I have had to learn a new set of skills. And there's been a lot where I've doubted myself, even the other day, walking into an event and being surrounded by incredible directors and just feeling so out of my depth. And then I'm just like, do you know what? I'm here for a reason, and we have all got different skill set. And maybe eating the spider and jumping off into the pitch black sea in the Middle East, maybe there's some transferable skills there. Maybe I have got something to bring to this event. So yeah, I've definitely had to have a few of those internal pep talks recently. But in terms of Shoorah and why and how it started, well, I guess I've always been quite a spiritual person. I know it's not for everyone, and I know as soon as like a celebrity says I'm spiritual, it's a bit like, oh, here we go. But seriously, like, I was very inquisitive at a young age and very curious, asking big questions. And I started off as a hairdresser, and I remember it so vividly. There was a lady who I just feel like, yes, guys, of course I believe that we can manifest and create our own destiny when we work hard. Okay, we can dream big, but we have to work hard and take action too. It's not just going to land on our laps. But I do believe that people and situations are sent to us for a reason, for a lesson, or, you know, just with this lady, I was a hairdresser. It was in the heart of Covent Garden, and she was kind of hippie-ish, very long hair, not the sort of clientele that we would have in this salon. And I just feel like at that moment in time, I hated doing the London commute. It wasn't my passion being a hairdresser. I was destined for bigger things, and I would drift off and daydream and fantasize about life on stage and things like that. And she said to me, Ferne, what is your purpose? And I think now, even, you know, whoever's on this call, you might be very set in your role, and you might feel very content in the workplace or in your personal life. But actually, I think our purpose is forever evolving, because when she asked me that question, I was like, wow, it really landed for me, because yes, it made sense. And yes, I've always been very spiritual, but at that time I'd never really, it was very thought-provoking. And that was the start of this journey for me. Then I went on The Only Way is Essex, and then lots of ups and downs in the media, in my personal life, leaking out into the British press. I think we all know what the British tabloids can be like. And of course, behind these pretty horrendous headlines and stories was a girl who was very, very shattered. So I leaned into holistic therapies and meditation and explored that. Like I said in the clip, you know, self-development, self-growth isn't linear. It's full of ups and downs. And just when you think you've got it all good, something else happens. And it's sort of relying on that toolkit that I had learned. And we all know what works for us, or we might not, and we still need to explore it. But we've also got unhealthy coping mechanisms too. So it was just continuously learning about what worked for me. And then when I met Laurie, we sort of just laid all our cards out on the table and we bonded over each other's trauma, which sounds ridiculous, but it was the truth. It was the first romantic relationship where I didn't hide anything and I was very transparent. And yes, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And it was really cathartic, actually. And as we developed our relationship, we really wanted to create something that was going to help others. I have been I've been in therapy for over 6 years now, and we know that in the UK therapy is not accessible to everyone. So we wanted to create a platform that was not overwhelming for people that were going through stress, that wanted a prevention tool to keep their mental health in check. And that was the birth of Shoorah. And we launched it May last year.
That's fantastic. So it's still early days then too. So one thing, I mean, our members are just so busy. It's just hard enough to get enough time in the day to do your job, to do the laundry, to look after the house, to look after the kids, etc., etc. We wouldn't have time to do therapy. Some do, some don't have the finances behind that as well. So if there's something like this app that we can have, that we can squeeze in between watching telly and going to bed or whatever that is. And I know you have both a personal app and a corporate app. So maybe we can switch now to Laurie. You've been very patient there.
He has. Just
know a little bit more about
on that note, sorry, Laurie, last thing. On that note is, yes, you're right. We understand that everybody is busy. Everybody seems to be living in the fast lane. And Shoorah's ethos is doing something is better than doing nothing. You know, 5 minutes in your day. We're not preaching to sit there crossing your legs, you know, arming. Like it's about simplifying mental health that can flex and fit into your day, because we're all busy. We've all got a million WhatsApp groups open, so many social media, kids, this, that, roles and responsibilities. So we wanted to create something that was seamless, that was simple, that was doable, that was like, okay, this is fun, and to give people that relief. So yeah, Laura, if you want to take over.
Yeah, of course. How you doing, everyone? So, you know, watching that spider back always makes me laugh, watching Fern. Because even at home, when the kids see a spider, Fern's like, don't worry about that. She eats it and just gets rid of it for us. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, she's like, that's mine.
I don't. The spider thing made me even worse. It gave me even more of a bigger fear of spiders. Like when there's a spider in the house, I am not frying it up and serving it for dinner. Like I am running like
so Stephanie, would you like me to showcase a little bit of the app, the platform that people get to use themselves, the front end as such?
Probably what people get to use, just so we can get a grip of the personal one, because that's going to be what we would be able to adopt faster, sooner, right? And then we can take a look at the idea of the corporate one. And I think one of the questions I had for you while you're showing us a demo is, and you can flick, you don't have to see our faces, you can share the screen as you wish. as you do the demo, what the difference between, like, are there synergies between the personal app and the corporate app? Would be good to know. And I'm hoping we'll have a few minutes left as well for people if they have any questions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'll just go through it very quickly. So
Sure.
I'll just show the app which everybody gets to use, whether you're an employee or you're a B2C user, because ultimately B2B or B2C, you're still human, right? Doesn't matter what your badge is. Yeah. So we won't go too much into the admin panel for the HR guys who have to maintain the platform and look after their users and all the AI. But let's just let's look at the actual app. So let me just share my screen. Where do I do it on Zoom? I'm such a Microsoft guy, a Teams guy, by the way. So share, got it. The big one right in front of me. Can you see that all okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. Sorry, we was on mute. I didn't think you could hear me. So this is the app. This is Shoorah. So this is the home page. This is where we've combined all of the quick access tabs to many things in the app, but I'll come back to that in a moment. So first we'll start with the tools. This is the toolkit area where we've built our journaling feature, our restore feature, our pods, and our rituals. The journaling feature, this is built up of 5 categories: gratitudes, affirmations, the cleanse, goals, and notepad. So gratitudes is the place where we go in and we enter our daily gratitude, the things that we're grateful for, to put us at that higher frequency, that place of gratitude, which ultimately instantly switches your mindset from negative to positive. Because sometimes in life, we all forget how grateful we should be for the little things that we have. So that's the gratitude area there, and you can create a new one. Affirmations. This is the place where you can create your own, where you can affirm the things that you want to affirm in your life. Now we have a whole list here done by categories where you can select from all of our Shoorah affirmations, or you can write your own bespoke ones in there. These affirmations, they pop up throughout the day. You can set notifications on your smart devices, so your watch. And affirmations for me was a good feature that worked well for a terrible time in my life. The affirmation always seems to pop up at the time when you need that little bit of extra support. It always seems to just be there and give you that nudge. Cleanse, it is what it says in the title, cleanse things from your life. Now, all these parts with the X at the top here that I'm clicking away, that's just some information. There's little videos of how and why we do certain things. So this one for demo purposes has got lifts. If you've got a fear of lifts, so you would go in there, add an image, a title, description, and then you would cleanse this out of your life and ultimately get rid of it and try and move on from it. Goals, goal setting. For anybody that sets goals will know how powerful they are. Without goals, you don't really have purpose. So setting goals gives you is the best way to get motivated in life. And that's where you're going to also get your purpose from. So you can set goals, small goals, big goals. This one was camping with the kids. And as you can see, my checklist, I needed to get some boots, a tent, and some other bits that I needed for the trip, apparently. So goals-wise, and you can see what I've achieved, and apparently I haven't achieved any. This is just a demo app, so what we see in here is not real. Notepad is your daily notepad. This is the place where you'll go in and just jot down all the things that are running through your mind and little things that you want to capture for later, because you know it's like when you can't find a pen or a book or space, or you're writing in your phone notes in this place and they all get congested. So this is your daily journal where you can put anything that you need to. Next is the restore section. This is to literally restore you and your mind. So this is filled with meditations, breath work, and sleep sounds. So all different categories here. You can choose from whichever suits best suits you. So if it's anxiety, there'll be some here for anxiety, which you can click on and listen to at your convenience. They come with captions, so you can read them, so you can understand the dialogue behind them. So it really does seep into the subconscious mind. Top right is bookmarks. You can always save them for later. And what we have done, which is at the top of the screen here, is our downloads. So you can download content so you can listen to it anywhere, because when we first launched Shoorah, one of our key slogans was Shoorah wherever you are. And we soon come to the point of realization that you couldn't wherever you are, because if you were on the train or out in the country, you had no Wi-Fi or XYZ, you couldn't use certain features. So now most features you can be used offline, and it will save when it's backed up to Wi-Fi later. And anything that you've downloaded, you can use offline. So it literally can be used anywhere. And we've got hundreds and hundreds of meditations and breath work and a lot of sleep sounds in there, which work wonders to help you drift off to sleep. Shoorah pods. Now, these are mini bite-sized pods. We've had these built by Shoorah experts. Now, there's one end the spectrum. We have doctors all the way down to the other end of life coaches. So there's neuro-linguistic practitioners. We have cognitive behavior therapists, psychotherapists, everything that you can think of. We've got experts that work with Shoorah, and they create and build content solely for Shoorah. So this is no third-party API that we've plugged in. We do not use anyone else's content. This is all ours, and it's all built within the app. So it can refer you back to certain features in the app to help you at certain times. So have a little look through there. There's lots of different ones there. Rituals. Now, this is something that I'm a big advocate of. Reason being, even though it looks like I don't have any. Reason being, you can create your own rituals, and you can use rituals from Shoorah's big list. Now, the reason why these are so essential, as you can see here from a demo, I've got a lot of daily rituals here. Obviously, I don't get through these all day, every day. But you can create things like walk 10,000 steps. It might be listen to a Shoorah pod every day, and you can just tick them off, right? So you might have 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you feel like should be a part of your routine. And what this does is it holds you accountable. So little notifications pop up to your smart devices. They're always here on the home screen. They give you little nudges, and you can just tick it off as you go through that list. So it's an accountability tool, and also a place for you to see your daily rituals, which rituals form the routine, which ultimately fit into your purpose, which then lead you towards your goals, which give you fulfillment in life. So that's the rituals feature. So that's the tools there. One new little feature we've got coming, I'll give you a little Brucey perk that we've got coming maybe this week, early next week. In this box at the bottom right here, number 6, it's going to be a vision board. So anybody that's ever created a vision board, you will know exactly what this is. If you haven't, it's a place you create little boards and add images directly from Unsplash or from your device, and you can note them, put different descriptions and titles, and you can create different vision boards. It could be for a holiday destination, your wedding, it could be for a new home. And these vision boards, once you take them from your mind and put them into reality, and you speak about them, you look at them, you visualize them, that is how you're going to bring it into fruition. That's how you're going to make it happen. And ultimately, that will then convert into a goal. So you've got to visualize it, create the goal, and that's all part of the process to actually achieving it. So we put people through these steps through the app, because these are the things that are going to help you maintain a healthy mindset, help you clear brain fog, and help you ultimately stay on the right track, because you're following the correct processes. And a lot of our stuff in this app is all scientifically backed. If you go to our website, you can see it there. Our Chief Strategy Officer, Dr. Mark, has put together some real cool stuff that he's managed to research. So this is the main feature, Shoorah. Shoorah stands for Shoorah's Trusted Guru. Now, here, you're going to see 2 options. You can start a chat or a voice chat. Now, I was a little bit thrown off there, because this is where it's a demo. This isn't actually online, the voice chat, until next week. But okay, hey, let's give you another exclusive. So voice chat, it's like speaking to a real human. And this chat part is like texting. So you're in a busy place, you don't have time to be speaking or doing certain things, you don't want to talk out loud, especially about personal things. You can just text, and it's like WhatsApp.
So it sends you this fantastic message?
Yeah, that's because I selected that that mood. So
that's amazing. This is better than my mum.
It is. Do you know why? It doesn't have an opinion, right? And it also has more education than perhaps your mum or most mums. Because, I mean, OpenAI in itself passed its doctor degree in 3 days. So it's quite a big tool to be able to challenge. Now, not only is this connected to OpenAI, this is also, we have done almost 1 million data sheets through our experts we have built into this in tree-formed Excels. So a lot of data has gone into this. If it can't answer your question from our data, it then goes to OpenAI and it will find the answer. It could be helping you with a healthy weekly menu. It could be talking about anything. We've got suicide prevention in there. We've got daily things. And it can even tell you jokes. It's literally, I mean, I was talking to it the other day and it asked me what I thought Elon Musk would have had for lunch that day. And I recommended something and it said something different and it was actually quite funny. So literally, it's like having a conversation via text. But, you know, speaking to friends, loved ones, therapists, it can be difficult at times. People might not be in the right place, the mindset to speak to you. It's over text. It's quite difficult for someone the other end to understand the dialogue and digest. And if they don't have the education, how can they sort of reply in the right way, right? Whereas speaking to an AI, it has pretty much the answers because it's a very powerful machine. So you can talk about anything that you want to talk about there, and it's all kept fully anonymous and fully encrypted. Now, this top part here is where you select how you're feeling. For me, I'm just tapping my thumbs on the screen, by the way. You just see things moving. So if you go into it and say you're angry and you start the chat, it knows what dialogue to start with you, right? It knows how you're feeling. So it will ask you what's going on. This is fully multilingual. It speaks every language.
Wow.
So the next part is the voice chat. Now, this isn't quite there ready yet. We've still got a few more tweaks to make this week. It speaks I think 5 or 6 different languages in that tone of voice. So if you put it in French, but you type in English, it will be a French speaking English, right? Accent. So it's really cool if you actually generally speak in that language. It will really be familiarized with you and sound like it speaks in your language. So we'll go with GB for now. So you choose GB, you hold the button down, and you will talk, and then it will talk back to you. So let's say, for instance, it's a bit
Good afternoon, Laurie Haynes. I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling angry.
Can you hear that?
It's natural to encounter moments of frustration, and I'm here to provide a sympathetic ear and understanding. What's been the trigger for this emotion in your day?
Okay, I have a big question for you here. No, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just say, let's say, for instance, I've showed you the text to text. Let's say, for instance, you are on a train somewhere public and you don't want to be talking. You go to this part here, which was the bottom right button I clicked, and then you will text and you can press the top right and it will speak back to you or not. So if you've got your headphones in, you can text, it will talk to you. So no one else can hear it, right? So if you don't have headphones, it's going to speak out loud. So there's a 4-way communication channel there. Okay. What was you going to say, Stephanie?
Well, I wanted to know, I know it is early days. Well, this hasn't been launched yet, but in general, we're looking at the personal, app.
Yeah.
How many people are using it? What's the kind of feedback that you get? For example, I find it's just me. And remember, I've got gray hair and wrinkles because I've been in partnerships for so long. I would find that freaky for a computer voice to speak with me, but I know younger people would think it's the most amazing thing ever.
Exactly that. So the statistics that were out there, and I am a big advocate as well to say that not all facts are in the stats, but majority of the stats they put out there, predominantly Gen Zs, would prefer to speak to a computer or over text than to an actual human, right? And the way the world's going since post-COVID, with everybody's doing a lot of things, work from home, doing things online, you've got hybrid working and stuff. A lot of it is online with therapists on Zoom anyway. So the relation there, it can be very much from the individual. Now, as you said, it's more of a Gen Z based solution. However, the stats that we've got back in our own research is it's not just anything from the age of 16 to 28. We've got people 30s, in their mid 30s and early 40s that are actually using it. And a lot of our reviews that talk about this, from the ones we've reached out to, they're in their 40s. And again, it's for many reasons, like you mentioned, Stephanie. Financially, they can't afford therapy. Traveling 30 minutes there parking, an hour in there, 30 minutes home, 2 hours of their day's gone, right? They might not have that time if they're working or working part-time, school run, whatever it might be. So time and finances, a combination of both or separately. So that's why they've been using it. Now, many people as well.
And also, sorry, Laurie, I just want to jump in here and say it's also a number of factors such as building a relationship. If you go to actually take the step to have a therapist, of course, therapy is only successful if A, you're opening up and feel comfortable, and B, you've got a good relationship with your therapist. Also, two, it's pride. If you think, let's remove the Gen Zs and let's take big directors, for example, they're not going to be the type of people that will go, okay, I need to see a therapist. So it removes that yes, okay, it's less personable, but actually you'll find that people's habits are changing. They're more open to actually have the conversation. You'll be pleasantly surprised with what Shoorah gives back to you. So it's the pride for some people, and of course we know it's time as well.
But the good thing is,
sorry, if I can just add quickly, if I haven't taken therapy, I've done my mental therapy in a different way, and those who know me maybe think I should have therapy, but you don't always get to see your therapist as and when you have a thought or a frustration or a difficulty.
No, you don't. The thing is, what our platform is, it's a preventative tool. Now, when you've got trauma so deep and you've got things that are generally buried within you, this is not going to unwind them and cure you. Not that anyone can be cured. You can learn to deal with and manage your emotions, right, when it comes to traumas. Whereas therapy, psychotherapy is something that it will do a lot of different things. Now, we're not trying to replace therapy. What we're saying is when you need it, then. When you need it now. When you need something 24/7, 365, that's when this platform becomes accessible, right? Not just about finances or time. It's about having it there when you need it in that moment. It's about having a quantum mindset perspective. Now, if you're not familiar with quantum mindset, this is having the skill set to understand a certain situation from multiple viewpoints, but being from a singular viewpoint, right? So for when something happens to me head on, rather than let my front cortex and my front lobes take over and me think out of emotion, I can think from different viewpoints and have different inputs and say, well, maybe they're feeling that way. That's why that happened. And that's why that happened that way. Do I do X, Y, and Z, or do I wait? And that's what Shoorah can do. You can go to it for answers. And that's what's really important. If you have an argument with your wife and you say, she's just done this, what shall I do? Rather than blame, it would say to you, perhaps ask her how she's feeling, and there's a reason why perhaps she said that to you in that way. It helps you understand dialogue and calm you down. And that's why it's a great tool, because it's preventative. It's not a crisis tool, which therapy usually is at the point of crisis when someone's like, you need therapy. So that's what makes it really cool. And then there's your profile, so you can track all your moods. Now, what we've done from a data perspective, because people don't want people tracking and keeping their data. We don't keep any of your data. Now, you get 10 conversations here, right? Unless you go into the chat history and go back on dates. You've got 10 conversations that build up here. So if you go back into that chat dialogue, like I've just clicked there, welcome back. That will take you back into what you spoke about. So if you've broken your leg and you've talked about how you broke it and being in the hospital was boring, blah, 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 and you go back into that, it's going to say, hey, how's your leg? Now, if you start a new conversation, it won't know about your leg. It's a new conversation, it's a new dialogue, and it's new. So we don't track people and keep their data and know everything about everyone, because we've had that question like, well, if I speak to it for a year, it's going to know everything about me. No, it won't. Only if you go back into that conversation. Otherwise, it won't be there. We do not store that on anybody. So that's Shoorah. And there's a version 3 coming at a later point, but I don't think I'll just dangle the carrot, but I won't go too much into it.
Good. Dangle carrots is good, because we also want to know about the corporate one. However, I'm sure there are some people on this in this group right now who would love to have the mic opened up and ask you all sorts of questions. Do you want to do that? And then maybe
let's do that. Just the last part, here's the me section, all about you. So your check-ins, so you can do your sleep, how you've been sleeping, during sleep, before sleep, and then you can do your daily moods and emotions, right? So you can slide around how you've been feeling, and then you can submit it, and you can download nice looking reports. And these can be sent to loved ones, to therapists, they can be sent to whoever. And this is where we're going to make this a clinical-based tool. There you go. There's a report I've just downloaded in seconds of how I've been feeling from swiping around my moods and emotions. And there's the date and the time frame there. So you theoretically could take that and then send that to a loved one or whoever you need to. So if you don't like speaking out, you've got that there. Before you go to therapy and they say, can we have a little 10-minute? Because normally with therapy, you speak to them for about 10 to 20 minutes first before you book in. You could send them this report. When you get in that room, they're going to know how you've been feeling for the last 3 to 6 months if you've been tracking it. And that's what we're going to do it from a clinical perspective. So to help the NHS and the welfare, we want those guys to say, could you please use Shoorah for the next 30, 60 days and give me the report, rather than wait months and months for an appointment and then normally get sort of prescribed with something to shove down your throat, just to sort of help instantly. So this is the me section, all about you.
Fantastic. Normally, traditionally, this is not the kind of thing for me, but the way that you've designed it and what it can do, and the fact that you don't have to use every function in it, I think is quite helpful. And particularly in, I think, the corporate world, some of the stories in the past that you've told me, that it can do, for example, the prevention is phenomenal.
The good thing about it is as well, from statistics perspective, which you mentioned earlier, Stephanie, we can track how many people have clicked the SOS button. So we can help companies understand if their employees are in a critical situation. And if I got the stats up, I think I did it about 3 weeks ago, since when we launched that tool, there was almost 300 people that went through to our partners at Samaritans. That's a critical situation in their life, crisis, and they've called the SOS, right? So if that wasn't in our app, they would have had to go on Google and sniff around and try and find something. And Shoorah, we've had around, I think, 250 to 300 hours in the last couple of months of people using it. 300 hours they've spoke to that therapist for. Now, if you put that into perspective of average, let's say a counselor, someone who's not quite psychotherapist or psychiatrist level, let's say around 50, 60 pounds an hour. I mean, I don't have to do the maths for you, but that's a lot of tens of thousands of pounds that Shoorah has maintained by having conversations with people. And you get all of this for under £10 a month. Yeah, I think it works out about 14 pence a day.
Yeah. So does anyone have any questions? I mean, that's a lot to take in, and it makes quite an impact visually and emotionally.
And what's the difference here between the personal and the enterprise?
Yeah, so the enterprise, sorry, because it cut out a little bit then it kicked in. The enterprise, it's a little bit more tailored towards the B2B user. So the admins can actually send surveys. We've got a fully functioning integrated survey feature, which means you don't have to pay for other survey platforms. You can use it in our app. You go to the admin panel, create a survey, or use our template, and it pops up in the app as a notification, which was in the top right in the little bell. You get a little unread message, and it pops up on the screen and email, and it integrates to Slack, Teams, and Zapier. So businesses can send surveys. The businesses, the HR, the wellbeing officers can also send in-app notifications. It could be a picture of you of your thumbs up with an audio saying Happy Friday, with a title and description, and you can send that directly to the user. So you can make this interactive, right? Because currently people just use Slack, Teams, other platforms, and normally email. But from a survey perspective or a nudging perspective, no one really has that app on their phone. So when we spoke to, and done a lot of research ourselves, people don't have Slack, Teams, and SurveyMonkey, which is a big billion-dollar survey platform, on their phones, right? So how are you hitting these guys with a notification or a nudge? You're not, until they go back to their work device, or you're doing it in an email. And emails are so aligned with work, corporate responsibility. One email might be, can you do this project? Where are you at this project? The next one is someone sending you a praise. So we've got a praise button in the admin panel. You can send a direct praise. And that is in the form of, it's like a beautifully looking design with the notification and the audio. So it's quite a nice personal touch, which I think is missing from the industry, the business world. I mean, people like praise. People like to be be shown gratitude for what they've done. So that's why we built a praise button.
Oh, I like that. Excellent. Thank you.
There's a few more business side of things, but how it differentiates between B2C and B2B, but that's predominantly the biggest one. The personalization, the surveys, from a user's perspective. The biggest thing in the B2B perspective, to answer your question, is for the admins, how they look after their people. So we've powered it with AI. So we can all look at statistics. Deloitte can publish X, Y, and Z. We can all read articles and go, oh God, we can all do surveys and hope and pray and beg for them to complete them, right? But what do you do with the data that you get back? What do you do with it? You got to compile it, put a synopsis together, if you're educated enough to be able to do that. So what we've built is an AI-powered solution button, and it delivers you a PDF in less than 3 seconds. And then what this solution is about, every data point from the app that is touched by a user, our AI scans the negative outputs and compiles a positive solution of how to look and better that situation. So your survey reports, moods and emotions, sleep tracking, not enough rituals, lack of interaction in the app, speaking to the therapy tool, the keywords. The journal, we bucket the keywords. What we've done very cleverly, now, as I said, it's totally anonymous. Let's say you said, work's tough. I've had enough of work. I need a new job. My work sucks. Oh, another day at work. Let's say it was these words. That would go under job dissatisfaction as a bucket. They'll all get chucked in that bucket. The AI would pull them out, take those negative words, and then compile them into the solution for you. So no one that we know on the market has this. So this has been built purely by us. And what feedback we've had so far, it's like, wow, I get a report of what's actually happening, because we give you the overall mental health and well-being score. But they're also like, the solution is so handy because we get the thing called writer's block. And you look at the report and you go, oh, how can I make the situation better? But the solution's there. You just read it and it tells you what you want to do. And you can go to your stakeholders, your bosses, and go, report, solution, I would like to do this. It makes the job easier for those guys that are in charge of the well-being.
It's a really brilliant USP, that's for sure. Lori, we had some other questions as well. I think Sam had a question, and I thought Dr. Is it Rise or Rissa had a question as well.
I did. I don't know how to raise my hand here, so apologies. I know Sam is first.
Oh, you go ahead. That's okay.
Oh, so I had a question just about privacy, and I know I'm not sure you're tapping into HIPAA territory, right? I'm a clinical psychologist, right?
Yeah.
A very long time, very long time. So HIPAA rules, and then certainly in the enterprise, do they have access to what people say? So if someone says, I hate my job and my boss, does that go, where does that information go?
So if I can show you, can you see my screen now?
I sure can.
Yeah. So this is the admin dashboard. Now, as you'll see here, again, for demo purposes, don't ignore that score. No one's in this situation. This will show you active users, peak usage time, who's using what, and here's your overall score and well-being, so you know what's going on. This should be green, high 80s. Here's the moods and emotion trackers, as we mentioned earlier. Now, from a perspective of protecting the user, this just tells me 530 moods have been collected in the time frame that whatever this was selected at from 3 users. Who are those users? We will never know. But this is how many moods were collected, and this is how many users gave this scoring. And that's how we got to that. And you can download the report or the solution. And the solution, as I mentioned earlier, looks like this. 1, conduct an employee feedback survey.
Just to run this by this again, this is the corporate version and the admin people accessing it.
Yeah, this is the HR directors, managers, well-being officers. These are the guys that are supposed to be in the place to look after the rest of the employees. So this is where they'll manage everything here from the left-hand side, adding users, downloading reports, solutions, creating surveys, integrations. This is the panel that the admins will use. And you can link this to your HR software via Zapier, so you can do automatic report pulling and pull it into any KPIs that you need to use it for, because sometimes, well, a lot of the time, surveys are used against KPIs, which are your
Yeah.
key performance indicators. They use surveys for that. Here's the most used features. Now, what a lot of people in the industry we found have done, they hide these types of things because the lack of people being interactive and utilizing certain things, they don't want the companies to know they're paying for things they're not being used, right? We're transparent. You can see here who's using what things are they actually using, right?
Okay, so just a second, because the question was more about security.
Yeah.
And I know that you started the demo with a security statement, but HIPAA is an authority in the US.
HIPAA is a compliance in the US. So we've got HIPAA on our agenda. Yeah. So we've just completed SOC Type 1. Type 2 will be done in the next 6 weeks because you have to use a time frame. ISO, we've got that open with our compliance. GDPR is also open. We're going through that right now because we've onboarded a company, for instance, they've got about 36,000 staff, one of the biggest in the recruitment industry, although we're also speaking to the likes of Nike, PC World, and lots of other big organizations. You need these compliance. So HIPAA is actually on our agenda. And funny enough, I've actually paid for the compliance, but we haven't started it. Reason being, we're not rolling out in the USA until post-summer. So probably August, September times when we'll be actually rolling out to USA businesses. And I know that 80+% of USA companies normally require or request HIPAA certification. So HIPAA is there. But first, we wanted to make sure we've done SOC and ISO. And if anybody knows, especially the lady that asked the question, you know about these compliances, it's a very long, tedious game to get every single certificate. And we've just done SOC after 4 months.
Yeah, it is. And expensive.
And it's very expensive, yes. We've had to just do an audit, submit our audit reports to the companies, and now they can onboard us. So here's the part I told you about earlier from the bucketing, from the AI. And it will give you the keywords that have been used. Again, you don't know who these users are. It's just going to tell you here, this was apparently from 4 users.
Okay.
And here's the stats. And then you can, filters-wise, you can break this down, right? So location could be different state, different department. So what we've done is we want to break it down so people can understand if it's your customer service team, your sales team, what age category, which demographic is struggling the most, so they can be shown support and the company can help on making them better. Because I get people going to say, well, if there's only 5 people in customer service, you're going to nail it down to them 5. But how are we meant to help people? If there's stigma around not speaking out, how can we help people? And that's why there's got to be a medium balance in the middle to try and find mutual ground. But you won't see specific words. So they say anything about...
It looks like you've thought it all out for sure. Sorry to cut you off there. I was just wondering if Sam could get in her question, that would be great. Or him. I don't know if Sam's a him or her. It's a beautiful her.
It's hi Stephanie. It's
Oh, hi.
Hi guys. That was really interesting. Hey. My question was just around, so it was more the personal side. The tracking element, which is really cool. I'm mainly thinking about the fact that this is kind of women in alliances. Is there something that tracks sort of menstrual cycles alongside this, or is it? Because I know you've got the mood cycles and things, and I just know, like, I've personally used an app that tracks that sort of from your more female point of view. And I don't know if you've thought about that, or if
yes, we have. It's on our it's on our huge Trello list. We've got a huge Trello list, and it's on there. We've got menstrual cycles, and we actually did release some pods recently about menopause and different stuff about postnatal. And we've got a lot more pods that we need to do on certain subjects, more trackers that we need to implement. As I just showed you, the sleep tracking, that is not actually live until Monday or Tuesday. So the sleep tracking, the moods and emotions is. That's why when I showed you the dashboard, you cannot see a chart here for sleep tracking because it's not in there until Monday, right? So that is on our Trello board. If you don't know what Trello is, it's a working board for the dev team. So we will have menstrual cycles. What we were struggling with is there's one thing. If when we set up users, they've got the option to put their date of birth, name, details, address, all the usual. If they don't, we won't know if they're female or male. And it means they're going to have a menstrual cycle tracker on the app for males. So we're trying to figure out a way how we can either do a pop-up question, which will say, are you male or female? Not that we need to know, but just for the menstrual cycle. We need to work out a way that can best suit so males don't download it, because I know a lot of alpha males, you know, big Ruskin guys, and they'll be like, I don't want that on my app. So it's like, how do you look at
I think
right?
I think just to jump in there, Laurie, you've done very well, like just listing off a few women type issues, but I think the answer as well, Sam, is no, we haven't at this stage. It's definitely on the horizon for us, potentially. Ultimately, where it is, you know, like Stephanie said, we're such a baby. It's our baby. It's still very new, that we're constantly in development. And then just going back to what you were saying earlier, Stephanie, about you know, it's great that you don't have to use every single feature. That's the beauty, is that you can select, and there's a lot of incredible Shoorah pods, which are bite-sized, anything from 5 to 12 minutes, covering a wide spectrum of mental health. And like Laurie said, Sam, we've got lots of different pods on postnatal care, you know, menstrual cycle, moods, and everything like that. So yeah, definitely on the horizon, but not yet.
Yeah, it looks great. I just thought of it as tracking it all together would be awesome. So yeah, love it.
It is actually
everything in one space.
Yeah.
We will get there.
I had endometriosis, which really gets in the way of your profession. So that's actually a brilliant thing to track. While, oh God, guess what it has to do with, you know, it's important to know. We're past our time, but do we have enough time for one last question from Vicky?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no problem.
Hi there. Just going back to the previous question before Sam's, tracking, obviously not seeing who the employee is, but would you be able to track if the company had more than one office? Would you be able to track which department, which office it is, you know, to identify if there's any areas where you could help? Would that be possible to do that?
Yes, that tab was there. So I think I did flick through it quickly. It's done by department, and then you can go, the demographics are age, department, gender, ethnicity.
Right.
So you can really nail it down and really get granular, you know, peel that onion back and find the layers and find out what's the problem and what's going on, which can ultimately, you know, help a lot. And the resource that come off the back of this platform, from the reporting, when you're employing new people, they want to know what they get, and they want to know the company culture, the company morale. What am I stepping into? What am I giving my energy to? And imagine showing them a report that says high 90s and showing them these things. And people, we've got companies that have gone for awards, and they've gone up for awards, and they've given this in because questions are asked when they do awards to the employees and to people that have worked as clients. What's the company morale? What's their company culture like? And that's people using the Shoorah report. And our chief strategy officer, Dr. Mark, who's a neuroscientist, he said, I think we could make Shoorah the new standard in the next couple of years. So you have to be held to Shoorah standard, right?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I really think you're touching on something that's going to be huge. I know you had said there are other solutions out there, but your USPs are very strong, and the way you're taking it feels like you've got the right balance finally for what everybody needs, as opposed to just maybe crisis people or people who like this kind of thing. And I also think our modern way of working and working remotely, what you've got here is you've absolutely nailed something. Time to buy shares for everyone and invest in this company, quite frankly.
I mean, Lisa's put a message in there, said I would love to make it when it's worldwide. Like, drop us a message, Lisa, on LinkedIn or email or via Stephanie. And it is global. We have 56,000 users, and for some reason, I don't know if it was because Ferne was in the jungle, but we've got people in Australia. There's a big handful in Spain. So we have users all over the world, obviously, because it's multilingual. And at some point down the line, again, on our big, huge Trello list, our pods and meditations are going to be multilingual as well. So
Yeah.
we're going to get them recorded in other languages. So it's all going to be rolling out over the next 12 to 18 months. You're going to see it all unfold. We've got a lot more features coming, such as games in the app for different things. So there's a lot of things there that is coming.
Lots of fun. I can't thank the two of you enough for one speaking to us and for two doing this.